explosive episode of Ninja Slayer, we finally get to see the return of the busty and beautiful Yukano Gendozo, who now goes by the name of Amnesia, and that's because she's actually lost her memories. She's decided to join a rogue ninja group known as the Uchikawashi Organization, who's currently under attack by the Omura Foundation and their army of evil robots known as the Motor Yab. Let me try to make some sense out of this week's episode, which was surprisingly simple but kind of ridiculous all at the same time. Apparently there are all these other different ninja organizations, and there's one that's introduced in this week's episode, which is known as the Uchikawashi Organization, which is made up of all of these just random ninja with guns, and they have this one lead group. There's this one guy by the name of Rapture, who's this one badass-looking red ninja, who unfortunately is killed in the episode that he's introduced in, and apparently he had some romantic involvement with Yukano Gendozo, who has lost all of her memories and now goes by the name of Amnesia-san. She also gets a brand new updated look, which frankly looks pretty freaking awesome. It's also very suggestive, but then again, this is Ninja Slayer. I'm getting used to it at this point. What I will say is, I love her redesign, she looks awesome, and the guys they fight against this week are just ridiculous. So there's this group known as the Omura Foundation, which has created this giant army of robots, which totally looks like the Ed 209 from RoboCop, and it looks like it had sex with a super soaker. It's ridiculous, it's over the top, and it's the only type of thing that Ninja Slayer could pull off. So these giant army of robots are being led by this guy by the name of Explosive. He's this one ninja who's covered from head to toe with explosives and body armor, and just with a click of his fingers, he can make shit explode. The bulk of this week's episode is getting to watch the Explosive Ninja and the Motor Yab robot army fight against these group of ninja, who pretty much just all get their asses handed to them. Of course, that is until the main hero Ninja Slayer shows up and finishes them off in the typical Sayonara! But the big thing to take away from this week's episode is that we are formally reintroduced to Yukano Gendozo, who now goes by the name of Amnesia-san, and I'm not really sure what they're going to do with this character from now on. I imagine she's probably going to get her memories back. Just Ninja Slayer actually saying her real name sort of jogs some memories a little bit, but she's still confused, and she still loves the organization that she's now a part of, especially considering that she had a romantic involvement with Rapture, who was killed in this week's episode. I'd love to care a little bit more about the guy who was killed, but he was just introduced in this week's episode, and considering this one's only about 13 minutes long, that's not a lot of time to get attached. Otherwise, this episode was just as ridiculous as the other episodes. I just wish I had more to say about it. It was basically just ninjas fighting against robots. There was one major highlight in this week's episode, aside from, of course, getting to see Yukano again, who's so freaking slamming hot, but we got to see Ninja Slayer pull off another awesome ninja ability. There's a scene where he's fighting against Explosive, who covers him from head to toe in all of these explosives. He gets away from it. Then he sends in one of his Motor Yab giant robots, which has all of these Gatling guns and giant staffs they use. Their faces open up and there's even more Gatling guns inside of its face. Then Explosive covers the entire thing with dynamite, trying to take out Ninja Slayer in a big, massive explosion. But because Ninja Slayer is so freaking badass and the greatest ninja in the universe, he's able to pull all of the fuses out from the dynamite in one swift movement. It's really freaking impressive, and of course he ends up saving the day. But honestly, this was a very strange episode. It just sort of came from out of nowhere. There was really no precedence for this episode whatsoever. Then again, that's really the case for the entire series. This is definitely an anime that does whatever it wants. So what's the rundown on this week's episode of Ninja Slayer? Watch it for Yukano, stay for the explosions. This was a very fun and ridiculous episode. I really love the fact that there's always going to be these other ninja throughout the series. I was always sort of hoping that maybe Ninja Slayer would form like his own ninja organization. Maybe he could be like the leader ninja, or the Hokage, so to speak. Like, he could lead all of his ninja, you know, he's the lead Jonin, and maybe he could create his own organization, so this way he could actually fight against the Sokaya Syndicate. And I'm not even sure if this Explosive guy and the Omura guys are even connected to the Sokaya Syndicate, but I believe they do have some sort of connection, especially with the character of Explosive, who's just like all of the other ninja that Ninja Slayer has fought against in the course of this series. This week's episode was also just really funny because they made a lot of use of the weird, like, static stick figure Aqua Teen Hunger Force style animation, and it was used for some really great scenes. This was definitely not a very like super badass action episode. It was actually just really funny and extremely fan servicey, which at times does turn me off. There are times when they did it with Nancy Lee when they were constantly tying her up. The difference is with Yukano is that she can actually defend herself, and she looks really badass while doing so. She even uses a bow and arrow and red shuriken, which go along with her brand new look, which frankly just looks awesome. I can't wait to see if anybody at the next anime convention is going to try to pull that cosplay off. But like I said, this was just another fun, ridiculous, over-the-top episode of Ninja Slayer, introducing new characters, killing them off immediately, and bringing in some old ones and giving them a brand new redesign. This was just a fun episode of the series with lots of humor, lots of action, and lots of ridiculousness. So I'm going to give this week's episode right here a 4 out of 5. I thought it was pretty inventive, especially with the reintroduction of Yukano, and hopefully that'll blossom into something even bigger by the end of the series. Otherwise, just a fun, goofy episode. I really just don't have that much to say about it. So, like I said, 4 out of 5 for me. Check it out, Ninja Slayer fans. It was pretty good times. So, I like this episode. But what about you guys? What did you think of the introduction of all these brand new ninja and the reintroduction of Yukano Gentoso? What do you want to see from the rest of the Ninja Slayer series? Please tell me in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching my review. Make sure to like it, share it with all of your friends, and make sure to subscribe to the channel and follow us on social media. Thank you guys again for watching, and as always, sayonara!